Welcome back. Next we are going to sketch activity 5.5, question number 2, the Automoblox axle. Just like before, we're going to start with the standard IPT, and we're going to create that sketch. All of our dimensions are going to be found on the 4th page of your activity 5.5a. What we are going to concentrate on is actually just sketching the part that is shaded in blue. Just like the rubber sleeve activity, we're only going to be sketching half of this because we're going to revolve this. This line down here, our center line, represents our axes of revolution. So we're going to start with our sketch. Again, I'm going to choose the XY plane. I'm going to start with just drawing the shape. Right now I'm not concerned with the dimensions themselves. I'm more concerned with getting the shape and what that's going to look like. I'm being very careful not to have these constrained too much. So I'm watching those dotted lines that you normally get. Notice I also left off the angled part right here on purpose. I didn't want to put that one in yet. Once I have those, I'm going to use a few of the geometric constraints to make dimensioning a little bit easier. So I have my basic profile that roughly resembles the blue. It will resemble it more once all the dimensions are put in place. And to help me with that, I'm going to do some of the geometric constraints like collinear. So if you notice on here, both of these inside cuts have a diameter of 0.19. So that means that they are collinear. So I'm going to go apply the collinear constraint to those, as well as to the ones that are going to be 0.25. So these two lines and these two lines are going to be collinear. I also noticed right here, this line is collinear as well. So I'm going to apply that collinear constraint. Now I have those constraints, I'm going to start with my dimensioning. So I'm going to start with my overall dimension of 0.88 and work from there. So I'm selecting different constraints, different portions here, and making sure that I'm going from relatively small ones and then working my way to the larger ones. The reason that I'm doing that is so that when I do the larger ones here, it's not going to make the sketch all funky. So now it's starting to look a little bit more like what it's supposed to look like. I have all of my horizontal constraints in place. Now all I need is my vertical constraints. So it's giving me all of my values here. But again, just like before, this is the full diameter, so that's what it would look like when it's rounded once it's revolved. But since I'm only going to the center line, I'm only going to need half of those. So I'm going to start with my smallest dimensions. And again, I'm going to let Inventor do the math for me. So I'm going to type in 0.19 divided by 2. Since I have my collinear constraint, it moved both of them at the same time. Then I'm going to move to the next one. and keep working smaller to larger until I get my object fully dimensioned. Now this one, so a lot of people have trouble with this. It actually is 0.01 from this point to this point, as well as from this endpoint to this endpoint. So you want to be careful on that one. So you want to be careful not to dimension that until the last part. So this one's also going to be 0.01. And now I can add in my final line. Endpoint, endpoint. Make sure that's 0.01. And now my drawing is fully constrained. So it's fully dimensioned and ready to revolve. So I just take one quick look, make sure that everything is right. All these dimensions should match what's given on your worksheet. And when it's ready, you want to revolve it. And the axis that we're going to revolve around is this line right here. It's going to be a revolve 360 degrees. You notice though we're not quite done yet. At the front of it, there is a cut that goes 0.2 in, that's 0.4. So we're going to have to make a sketch on the front face. The easiest method is to just draw a rectangle and use your constraints. Remember, the vertical constraints can be used on the horizontal line and line it up with the center point, and it will automatically center it. And we're going to dimension that to 0.04. Be careful that you do actually make it bigger than what you need. If it's too small, it's not going to cut into the object correctly. So then we're going to cut that out. So to extrude, to cut, we have to extrude it. Select cut, make that 0.2. And there is our axle. So you can see it's cut through. It has the counter bore at the end. And that is done. You want to save that, make sure it goes into the correct spot, and get ready to turn that in. Thank you.